when you're sitting there writing your own death note and your funeral plans, and you're thinking about the fact that a huge part of who you are, be it your sexuality, has not been expressed or shared with the world at that one point in time. Was there ever the fear that if something, God forbid it did, and thankfully it didn't, had have happened to you, that a part of you would have died a secret?
No, well, see, so this was going into the trip 2012 where I wrote those letters, and I wasn't gay. I had decided I wasn't gay. I didn't know what gay was. I was still figuring it all out. And particularly upon joining the Special Forces and then leading up to this extra security clearances and all the rest, I chose, that was not for me. And my mindset, having achieved everything that I achieved, even just to get into the Special Forces, I was confident that I could train myself to be straight, and that this was not relevant to me in my life. My love, my passion was my guys deploying overseas and achieving the missions and everything that I'd wanted to do since I joined the military. And that was my priority. My sexuality or whatever it might have been or whatever I didn't know about it was not important.
Can I ask though, I fully respect what you're saying, but you can't train yourself to, when you say train yourself, do you mean just put it to the side for a moment? Or
I trained myself to I'd go pick up chicks, go be physical with chicks. I'd train myself to try and only find women attractive. I'd find myself to train myself to try and find attractive men repulsive. I literally did all these. It's so funny. I love these conversations when I particularly encounter people who use religion as a construct to shame and stigmatize people, to go, your life choice. It's because these are often people who come up to me and they're so impressed with what I have achieved in my life. I'm like, just sit there for a second and appreciate how much I have achieved in my life and how determined I've been to do everything from what I did in service through to the ABC and all the rest. And when I tell you that I put every ounce of my energy into trying to train myself to be straight, and it was only after doing that and after meeting people that I saw not defined by their sexuality that I actually appreciated that I am gay and it's not something that I can change. And then let me know if you think it's truly a life choice. You just don't go around picking this off a shelf. So I literally went through my own conversion therapy, as it would be. I was petrified when I joined the Special Forces because you have to go through a whole security screening process, including people trailing you, looking into your digital devices. I smashed and burned my old laptop. I logged out of all these things. I, created and destroyed this whole alternate side of me.
One of the best laughs I've had in a while was listening to you talk about going on reconnaissance missions and covert operations.
Mike, the PE teacher, was my alter.
To cap on,
mate.
sunnies on, newspaper. Pink Panther? Newspapers.
Newspaper with the eye holes cut out. Yeah.
So good.
All that's, and this is what I love, mate. In my book, I've gone into this in extra detail I've never gone into beforehand. And it's just, at the end of the day, the whole outcome of life is trying to figure out your identity and who you are, and then your part and purpose to play. And for me, I've just had these extreme experiences to try and break down and figure out and work through the tactics and techniques of that, including sexuality, which is one of the most vulnerable elements of it.
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing, right? Because I sat here and I contemplated whether I even wanted to ask you about this today for two reasons. The first reason being, it's the least interesting thing about you. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Yeah.
But we put it on such a pedestal.
Well, yeah.
Because people are just defined by it. Yeah.
This is the 100%. thing. It does not define who you are as a human being.
But it took me over a decade to appreciate that. And what I didn't have was someone like me who I could look to and be like, hey, he's not defined by sexuality. I didn't get that until I went to the US in 2015 on exchange to their Special Forces and met some of my best friends that I have now who are successful, accomplished people. But there was no one within Special Forces as an officer who was gay that I knew of, that was public about, because it wasn't relevant to our culture or to our creed, and that I was able to draw inspiration and a mentor from. And I was in this construct of life where if I haven't seen anyone else do it, I'm too afraid to be the first.
Because the interesting thing is, on the surface, sometimes you can read someone from the surface. The only thing that's potentially gay about you on the surface is...
He's got stereotypes now.
How good your skin is.
Mate, I didn't moisturise till I was 30. I'd done 3 trips to Afghanistan before I learned to moisturise.
When I tell you I cried laughing when I heard you talk about my brother-in-law and I at home pissed ourselves laughing because we were reminiscing on this moment in one of the podcasts you'd been on, where you spoke about reviewing footage in operational training. I can't remember which it was.
It was in combat.
In combat, where you looked at one of your wrist movements and thought, that's a little bit gay. Oh, mate, when I tell you I fucking cried because I just thought that is so... We spoke about it earlier. I was petrified. How we're our own worst critics. Yeah, mate.
Oh,
what's the wrist movement?
Petrified. No, literally, it was the Battle of Tagore. It was just incredible. Like, it was some of the best close combat we've had. Like, yeah, it was pretty hairy.
Where is this, sorry?
This is in Afghanistan. Just at the start, we'd inserted off the helicopters. And moved up. I had my pistol shot off my hip. It hit the pistol holster and had to tuck my pistol into my pocket. And next thing, we're just into it. And we hadn't encountered... This enemy was like dug in and prepared for us. Like, they had these incredible pieces of black cloth that they used as contained shadow and sat their machine gun back behind. And then just over the wall, they had another weapon waiting for when they withdraw over and leave the machine gun there to then go around. Like, it was as a military tactician, like, it was good tactics, and it was enjoyable to go up to against like a well-trained and rehearsed enemy. And this one part where all of a sudden this machine gun just arced up at us, and my guys, we all sort of converged to start firing on it. But, you know, there was dudes moving here, and then I just immediately saw the best move was to go around to this flank, which we did, and we eventually got the guy. But it's my mate's helmet camera, and he's shooting, and I'm here, and I needed him to stop shooting, and then so I could run past and get them to follow me to go to the flanker, because people were just getting a bit stagnant there. And I'm like, stop. And then I go to run in front, and as I run past his camera, my hand and my wrist are just doing like it's a full 90 degree, as if I'm like, I was like, so good. What is that? Like, I don't run like that at all. And for some reason, I just had this stigma of like, you know, the gay wrist. And I was like, that is the gayest combat run I've ever seen in my life.
That is so funny.
And after a mission, we'd go back and grab the helmet cam footage and review it. We'd hand it to the intelligence staff, and I was like, I don't want to hand this in. I look like a fucking fairy. But then I had this moment just sitting there. I'm like, you were literally like in a two-way shooting range with a dude with a machine gun, and you're worried about how your wrist looks.
Mate,
like
that is what I love about you the most. Is there is nothing stereotypical about who you are as a person.
Oh, mate.
I find that fantastic.
It's a place of discomfort, but it's a place I've learned to get comfortable with.